Greetings ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's Reddit series video from the subreddit HFY called Ch.2, The Lives We Lived. I am from Earth, the third planet orbiting a star called Sol, or the Sun. In the reckoning of my homeworld, I was 28 years old when my race died. For all but one of those years, we knew that we were not alone in the universe. In the year of my birth, an alien craft descended onto the surface of our planet. It landed in the middle of the North American continent, in the fields of my childhood home. But it was empty, containing no signs of life. The craft we deemed a probe sent to discover what we could about humanity. The craft was harmless enough, and the reaction it brought was anything but. War erupted across the world as country fought country over who would get the damn thing. They wanted to use it to figure out how it worked and build ships for space. A solution was found in the unification of all countries of Earth. It seems that the threat of an outside force was enough for humans to put aside their differences and work together. I grew up under the rule of the United Federation of Earth. My father was a military man, so I went to school on a military base, where they teach you to master academics and war in equal measures. I met my wife there. I was 16 and she was 14, and it was love at first sight. We married when we graduated. 2 years later we had a daughter. 2 more and we had a son. Those were good years. Those were happy years. They ended when Earth was visited for a second time by alien technology. Driving back from work, I saw an alien craft appear from the sky and crash into the ground. I ran towards it and I found a being crawling out of the wreckage. I took it back to my work at the Military Science Division, hoping that they could save its life. I should have let him die. When the alien awoke, communication was attempted. The alien knew English, the main language we spoke on Earth, but refused to speak to anyone other than the one who pulled it from the wreckage. They found me and they sent me in. The alien's name was Ch.2. He was an exile on the run from his homeworld, Swarm. He had defied the orders to kill a rebel and he was declared a traitor. He stole a ship and flew into space, heading for the most remote sector of the galaxy. He crashed into Earth after his ship malfunctioned. I was the only one I would talk to, and so I was made a permanent fixture in the military base, unable to leave. My family was brought in as well. I spent my days getting as much information from High as I could, and I spent 4 years with him. We became friends. He taught me to speak his language, Swarm, then Galactic Basic. That was a shock. We learned that there were over 100 races of sentient beings in the galaxy cluster alone, and they had known about each other for hundreds of years, enough to devise their own language to speak to each other. In return, I brought him little things from the outside to make his life more bearable, things like music and movies. He seemed to enjoy them, but what he truly wanted was to get out of that place. I managed to get my commander to allow High supervised excursions around the base. He seemed awestruck by his surroundings. It was from him that I learned that Earth was considered a death world by galactic standards. Where I came from, he was considered a near-death world, but it was still a far cry from Earth, he said. Eventually, I convinced my superiors to grant High access to his ship. We had managed to open it up and analyze the contents, but we were unable to repair it enough to make it work. The hope was that High would be able to. He was. He and I worked for weeks on his ship, repairing what we could and building anew what we couldn't. He taught me everything he knew about ships and alien technology, which was a considerable amount. With the knowledge I gained from High, the Federation began to construct ships for the voyage into space. But I was drawn to the tech and I tinkered with it incessantly, until I had made it more efficient and effective than it had been. High was very impressed. He wanted to learn of other things humans could do. I showed him food, art, and literature. He absorbed it all. My superiors had already learned all they could from High's ship, but they wished to know more. So they brought a probe to High and asked him to tell them what it was. He stared at it in shock and said, "Not them, not here." He refused to say anything after that, not even to me. He retreated into his ship, tinkering with the power source. which he had never managed to get to work. Well, I thought that I had been ordered to sabotage the ship to prevent it from working. Though I disliked it, I did so. I was confident enough in my ability to leave High alone with his ship. That night High got it to work. No one knew about it until the next day when we arrived. High was immediately taken back to his cell, and we tried to figure out what he had done while his ship had power. We weren't long to find out. In the skies all around Earth, alien ships had appeared in great numbers. My commander demanded to know what was going on. I said that these were his people, and that it would be all right, that they had come to protect us from the race that sent the probe, who I called the Elder Beings. He would not say more. I trusted High, and I told the commander that it would be all right. He allowed a small delegation of aliens to land on the base to meet our leaders. They gathered in one room to discuss with the swarm what their intentions were. The swarm's answer was simple. A plasma burst to the center of the chest. In orbit, the great battle cruisers began to rain down death upon the planet, burning everything. In the base, the delegation of the swarm rampaged through, killing anyone they could see. A defensive was attempted, but the swarm weapons destroyed us. Only a few of us survived that initial assault. I raced to my quarters and gathered my family. I did not know what else to do, so I led them to the hangar and piled them into the High ship. I didn't know where the treacherous swine was, but if I had, he wouldn't have lived much longer. I flew that ship out of the pit of horrors, and we climbed higher and higher into the sky, fleeing the death below. I could see the hundreds of these ships doing the same, but one by one they were shot down. We survived only because we were in a swarm vessel, and the rest were human vessels. We climbed ever higher into the sky. I was going to run for it, to some planet far away. From orbit I could see the surface of the Earth turn to fire. As far as my eye could see, the swarm rained destruction down upon my home, with such a power that very air burned. But my family was in danger, and I had to get them to safety. My ship flew through the fleet of ships, and we were almost free when the ship stopped. The swarm had taken control remotely and directed it to the hangar of the flagship. We pulled into the hangar, and I grabbed a large wrench left in the ship for our repairs and prepared to fight. The door slid open, and I was shot. Electricity running through my body had knocked me unconscious. When I came to, I was lying on the feet of the biggest swarm that I'd ever seen. I was pulled up and held by two Urg. One of the swarm asked what the Admiral wanted done with us, and the Admiral replied, "They are worthless. Kill him." I fought, and I don't remember what exactly happened, but I ended up against a wall, my family behind me, and a dozen bodies lay on the ground, and I was covered in blood. Several Urg came at me, and I fought them off, but I didn't see the one behind me. He smashed me to the ground, and they bound me with cable. My family was pulled from the wall, and the Admiral shot my son and my daughter. One of the aides killed my wife. I went blind. When my sight returned, I was flat on my back, a neural implant in my neck, numbing me. I could see blood and bloody parts strewn across the bridge. The Admiral and the aide were still alive. The aide touching his face, a gun was shoved in my face, and the Admiral was about to shoot me when he was ordered to stop. In strode High. I would have done something, but the neural implant numbed my senses and my emotions. He told them that he didn't want me harmed. He told me that, while I had only been a means to an end, he did like me, and so he should sell me into slavery rather than kill me. I could do nothing. I was sold, and I was passed from master to master for a year, until I was free by TEDx. I wandered the galaxy, avoiding the memories of that day. I lost myself in the pursuit of money, pleasure, and killing, always on the edge of madness. My mind was turned away from what had happened, but I still gathered what information I could on the rebellion and on the Squirm Empire. Something happened a few months ago, and I was pulled back from the edge, and I focused on revenge. I learned that the Admiral that killed my planet and my children was named Z-Ken, and he is a High Admiral of the Swarm Navy. The one who killed my wife I killed weeks ago. And as for I found out his proper name was High Otto Edict D. Yuth-Usa, once High Prince of the Swarm Empire, and now its Emperor. The Swarm Empire destroyed my planet, my people, and my family. For that, I will kill them all. End of chapter. I hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing. If you wish to support the author, there is a link to the original story, so pop over there and give him your support. If you wish to support this channel, however, there are a few ways to do so. The best and easiest would be to share this video with other people, as well as liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. All of these things tell the algorithm that this channel is at least vaguely interesting, and that may share it with other people. If you wish to support the channel in some other manner, watching my other videos would also help tremendously. Or, if you really like, there is a link down below to leave a tip or to join the Patreon. Any and all support is very much appreciated. And I hope that you all have a good one until the next time, and I'll see you then. Cheers.